Yo, Muddy Waterz podcast. This your boy Shaq Sims, and I'm here right now with a very special guest. Now, today's guest is the definition of a legend, man. I mean, this dude been tearing up the game for 20 plus years.
Go ahead, just read it. Just read it, y'all.
In the game, dog, come on, man. Don't do me like that, dog. Don't do me like that. Don't do me like that, man. I try to do something special for you.
No, I appreciate it. That's why I say, like, go ahead, just read it.
You want me to just read it out to you? All right, cool. This is a read along.
Because it's like a little bio. Like, it's real thorough. It's a real thorough little one paragraph bio. I appreciate it. So just go ahead and read it.
All right, cool. Okay, cool. So this man has been in the game for 20 plus years, tearing these southeastern streets up, killing the radio game, the mixtape game, the DJ, and the entrepreneur game, and even the liquor game.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And without further ado, I want to introduce the legendary DJ
Shaq.
B. Lord.
Nah, man, I appreciate you. Definitely appreciate you giving me the opportunity to talk to you and talk to the people.
Yeah.
In depth.
In depth.
Yeah.
I appreciate you for coming on the show.
Nah, my pleasure, bro.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
We
yeah.
met. It was a genuine connection.
It was, man, and I was just impressed by how much you seem to care about the podcast. You know, I never heard of the podcast. You just started the podcast, what, 3 months ago?
7 months ago.
Seven. So yeah, it's new. But when I met you, I could tell that you cared about it. I could tell you were serious about it. I could tell that when me and you sat down, it was gonna be something to talk about.
For sure, bro.
Yeah.
I appreciate it, man. And, you know, you seem just as interested as I was.
I am. Nah, for real, man. Just to have real dialogue with somebody who cares and who puts enough thought into coming up with, you know, real questions, and hopefully the people are interested in what we got to talk about.
There will be. Definitely. If anything, they're going to get some inspiration from you.
Okay, I hope so. Real shit.
They will, man. They will, man. And this episode of Muddy Waterz is brought to you by Rock Green. Y'all know I rock with Rock Green heavy, man.
That's the clothing line?
Clothing line. From the Carolinas,
Jacket is
man.
fresh. Yeah, I got the...
yeah.
It's Carolinas as well.
Yes, man.
Yeah.
Support Carolina brands. If
For
you're from
sure.
the Carolina, support Carolina brands, man.
Absolutely.
Definitely, man. And we got an event coming up on January the 19th. I will be hosting it. It's my first time ever hosting an event. Never hosted anything in my life.
That's on
Shout out
MLK weekend, that Sunday, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where at?
I think it's, hold on, let me get the address. Let me get the address.
Let's give him a plug real quick.
For sure.
So
You might see B-Lord there.
I'm actually gonna be at South of the Border that weekend. They got some radio panel music, indie music conference up at South of the Border, so I'll be up there.
That's going to be dope.
Yeah.
That's going to be dope. The address is 8602 Farrell Road, Suite D in Columbia, South Carolina. It's going to be from 3 to 6, and it's going to be hosted by Muddy Waterz Podcast. It's on Shaq Sims.
There it is.
So, B-Lord, man. 20 plus years in this game, man.
Yeah.
You know, how does it feel?
I feel like I'm still fresh in the game, to be honest, man. I love it. I love business first and foremost. Like, of course, I love music, being a DJ, but DJing and music is almost like second nature to me at this point. Like my passion and kind of like my what I get super excited about, and what keeps me getting up early and staying up late every day is the different kind of aspects of business and how to apply that to music and other things like liquor. Like marketing and stuff like that. The Red Cup Kickback, you know. Yeah.
That's dope, man.
Yeah, because I think at the end of the day, if we're, you know, any of us at any point in our life, if we're lucky enough to care about something enough, to stick with it long enough, to see the fruits of it and to see it turn into something else and to grow and to branch off and turn into other things, I think that's probably the biggest blessing we could ask for, other than, you know, health and family.
Yeah. It is, man, because it's nothing like having a fulfilling career.
Real shit. Nah,
Nothing
that's
like
the
that.
realest shit ever. It's got to be fucked up to get up in the morning and hate going to work, or hate dealing with people that you don't want to deal with, or, you know, it's just that's gotta be. I've been there, you know. I did McDonald's and Little Caesars before.
For real?
I laid tile in the hot summer sun before. I worked in houses in summer that didn't have no AC, laying tile in bathrooms, so I know what it feels like not to like what I'm doing. So to actually care about what I'm doing is a huge blessing.
Yeah, definitely, bro. And that's probably why you stay looking so young, man.
Nah, it's
Because you love what you do, man.
It's the beard dye.
It's the beard dye?
Yeah. I'm going to keep it a buck.
You going to plug the brand?
Nah.
You ain't going to plug the brand?
Nah, I ain't giving away the secrets.
Don't give him the sauce, man.
Nah, no secret sauce.
Yeah, man. So, B-Lord, man, where are you from? Because they call you a low country legend. Are you originally from the low country, or?
Nah, that's a good question. And so I was born in Charleston.
Okay.
But I was born in Charleston because at the time my parents were living in Cross, South Carolina. You know where Cross is?
I heard of it.
It's Berkeley County, so it's probably like 30 minutes from Charleston, but it's a super small town. So there's no hospital there, there's no doctor's offices there. So we had to go to Charleston for my mom to have me. So really was born in Cross, spent most of my like younger years in Cross, Utahville, Holly Hill. Then I moved to Florence where my mom and pop separated. Went to high school in Florence, graduated high school in Florence. Then I moved back to Charleston. When I got a radio gig in Charleston, I lived there for 4 or 5 years. Then I came to the Met in 06, and I've been in the Met since 06.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, like, people ask me where home is. Florence feels the most like home to me because I went to high school there. That's actually where I actually started, like, DJing, professionally getting paid to DJ. I was fucking with the DJ shit before when I was living in Holly Hill, but I was, like, super young.
Yeah.
I ain't jumped off the porch yet. So, Florence feels the most like home.
Okay. Now, how was it growing up? Like back in that time, like how was it? No. What I mean by that, not saying like
it's a good question. That was a long time ago.
No, I'm not saying it like that.
No, I'm gonna answer the question like before phones and shit.
Yeah, but before they had cars with wheels and shit, they was riding with.
Nah, it's a good question. And before you elaborate on your question, I'm gonna give you an answer. I grew up like in the country. Like this is Columbia, South Carolina, so a lot of people might look at Florence like that's country. Mm-hmm. No, I grew up in the country, like Cross, South Carolina, Utahville, South Carolina. There's a lot of beautiful people, there's a lot of good people, but it's super country. And back in those days, yes, pre-iPhones and shit, before the Steve Jobs invented the iPhone, yeah, it was country as fuck. So, growing up in the country, you basically, you have to use your imagination a lot. You have to be creative when it comes to, like, finding shit to do and things to keep you busy and occupied. So, is that growing up in those times?
Nah. What I was about to say was growing up in that time, hip-hop wasn't as big as it is now.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, so growing up, like, was hip-hop a big part? Well, not even hip-hop. Was music a big part of your household?
Yeah, it was. Moms and pops always listened to music. They wasn't, like, diehard fans, but, moms had the big-ass fucking radio component set that sat in the living room with the big clunky turntable on it and the radio. So music was always on in the house. But when I moved to Holly Hill, and started elementary school in Holly Hill, I had a music teacher. And she was cool as shit. And she used to let us bring music to music class to play different musics in classes. She would, everybody was bringing different records and shit. And that's kind of like when I really started to like understand how much music meant to me. Because it was like, damn, everybody was bringing different music and all the shit was dope. It wasn't just like one kind of music, it was different types of music. And then my mom really supported my music shit because she used to play the piano or want to play the piano. She was like trying to play the piano. Mm-hmm. She was like really into music, so she brought me my first trumpet. I played trumpet and shit in elementary school. Yeah. And moms was always there to kind of like support the music shit.
Yeah.
That's
dope. That's
really it is dope. Shout out to moms.
Yeah. Now, did you grow up in the church? Like, did y'all, like, sing on the choir and listen to gospel, or was it?
I never thought about that. My grandmother actually used to play the organ in church, but that not really. Like, we didn't go to church a lot. Okay. Not as much as we should have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because a lot of musical people, I'll be surprised, no matter how their upbringing was, a lot of them grew up in the church.
Absolutely.
My dudes with face tats singing the choir. I'm like, bro, you singing the choir?
Because, at the end of the day, it's music, though.
Mm-hmm. It is.
It's music.
And they caught the music bug early.
Yep.
So when did you first hear hip-hop? And did you fall in love with it immediately when you heard it?
It sounds cliche as fuck, but I did. Like, the first time I heard, real shit, the first time I heard, and this is going to definitely tell you, like, back then, those days, it was...
Don't age yourself,
real shit. It was tapes, right? Mm-hmm. Tapes and, like, right before CDs or whatever. Mm-hmm. So I used to try to find, like, shit that I could trade people for cassette tapes. You know what I'm saying? So I would, like, get a watch, or I would, I hate to say I would steal something like a bike or something and like be trading it for tapes that people had. Because this was way back in the day before music was like readily available, and it definitely wasn't cheap. Like now we got it on our phone and streaming, it's pretty much free. Back then, music it cost money to get a fucking record or a tape or a CD or whatever. So I was I got caught the bug with hip hop. And I think, to be honest, like, it was the sonics of the music, like the way the music actually sounds, like the drums and shit, and the bass lines in the 808. But it was also just like the aggression in the music. Because when you were a young man, and you coming up, most of us, we got a lot of built up aggression, whether it's coming from shit that's going on in the household, or whether it's coming on from shit going on in school or in the streets. We got like a lot of built up aggression that we don't necessarily know how to express. And like hip hop just used to like give me an outlet where I could just go in my room and play music and like release some of that aggression and get it out of me. You feel me?
What was some music that allowed you to do that? Like if you could think of an album, because growing up for me, I have those albums that I immediately, readily, if I listen to them or
like
if
what?
I think about them,
like
I'll go
what?
to it. Like, what's the Lil Wayne album?
Carter 1, 2, 3?
No, before that.
500 Degrees?
Before that.
What?
What was it? Lights Out?
Okay.
Lights Out, that album.
Yeah.
Like, that brings me back to being 6 years old.
But that's the power of music, though.
Yeah.
Like, whatever, especially when you like, young, I say like 16. Those years are like, I think when music really, you form your musical taste during those years. Of course, you can grow as you get older and you listen to different shit. You can expand your musical taste. But I think like when you're young, those first 5 or 6 years of music, that really like kind of ingrains in you what type of shit you like. Because I think it speaks to you more. It's more raw. Like the older we get, the more filters we have. Like say, I don't like this shit because he's from over there, or I don't like this shit because he's affiliated with that. But when you're young, you really don't give a fuck about that. You just like accepting the music in its rawest form, and it just speaks to you. So I think those younger years are like when you really kind of like just form your most purest musical taste, if that makes sense. I mean, some of the earlier artists, like all the classic hip hop motherfuckers, like, Run DMC, LL Cool J, Rakim, Big Daddy Kane, Public Enemy, like all the early aggressive hip hop. I was never really into like the playful type of hip hop, like Kid and Play back in the day. Nothing against them, but that's just wasn't the type of music that I was interested in. It didn't really, I didn't connect with it.
Right.
I appreciated it for what it was, and then that's kind of like as I got older, I started to learn my role as a DJ. Is I don't always have to like love the music. You know what I'm saying? Because as a DJ, it's really not all about you. It's more about the people and the people that you're trying to connect with. What do they like? What are their musical tastes? And I think that's one of the greatest things about the musical landscape these days. Is it's such a big variety of music, such a big variety of hip hop. Like anybody that complains about the quality of music or the quality of hip hop in 2020, I think they're just a hater, or they're just fooling themselves, and they hadn't quite understood that there's shit out there for everybody, no matter what you like.
Or they're just a nigga that wanted to be a rapper that never made it.
Or it could be that. Nah, real shit.
Real talk,
it
though.
Could be that.
You know? But I see a lot of people talking about hip-hop like, oh, music is so whack now. First of all, money is back in music now with streaming.
For sure.
And you see this luxurious plaque back here.
Yeah, and I didn't make a dime off those streams, by the way.
For my guy. But it's just showing
the power.
The power.
10 billion streams for one artist, a hip-hop artist, fairly new hip-hop artist. He's been around a few years. He already racked up 10 billion streams. That's huge. Shout to QC, shout to Capitol Records, shout to Lil Baby.
Shout out to them.
Yeah.
And I say all that to say, the power is back into the artist's hands now. And then there's so many different artists and different types of artists out there to where you can't complain. You got Kendrick Lamar at the top of the game. You got J. Cole at the top of the game, Drake. Then you got Roddy Ricch.
Bruh.
Then you got Lil Nas X. You can get whatever type of music that you want to get.
And the list literally goes fucking on and on and on.
It does,
like,
bro.
It's so many new artists that got like a substantial buzz, even if it's just a regional buzz. It's just so many artists doing so many different types of music. It ain't shit to complain about.
Right, like Nipsey Hussle, R.I.P. Before he died, he got nominated for a Grammy for Victory Lap.
Crazy.
You know what I'm saying?
And he was just warming up.
He was just warming up, bro.
He was just warming up.
He was just warming up.
Yep.
Definitely. R.I.P. Nip, man.
Absolutely.
R.I.P. Nip. Now, what did you aspire to do as a kid, man?
I mean, like, I'm kind of like I was then, how I am now. I tried a lot of different shit, and I kept trying different shit. Like, my grandfather was, he wasn't a farmer, but, you know, we lived in the country, so he had a garden, a big garden. He had, like, cows and pigs and chickens and shit. And in the summertime, I used to spend summers with him, and he used to let me dig up his peanuts, and we would boil the peanuts, and I would bag the peanuts up in little brown paper bags and go stand in front of Piggly Wiggly and like hustle the peanuts. So I was always trying a little different shit like that, just trying to figure, you know, for one, figure out ways to make money, because I knew at a young age I wanted to be a DJ and equipment wasn't cheap. But you know, to this day, I try a lot of different shit. Some stuff I'm interested in for 2 weeks. Some stuff I'm interested in for 2 years. You feel me? It's just trying to try my hand at different shit that I'm interested in and find the sweet spots and figure out the pockets that make sense for me to kind of like dive deeper into.
Right. So you boiling peanuts, you know, selling them in front of the store. Did your granddad want to cut, or was he just like, nah, you keep that, like that's?
Nah, grandpops didn't want to cut. I think he was just happy to get me the fuck out of his house for a little while. Because me and my cousin Jimmy, rest in peace, was, you know, we wasn't shit together. You know, when me and my cousin Jimmy got together, it was a lot of shit. Like Jimmy used to be growing weed in the backyard, sneaking corn liquor into the house, and we tearing shit up. So nah, grandpops was super cool. It's funny you say that though. I just thought about it. My pops used to want to cut, and all he did was drop me off at the store and pick me up from the store. I just thought I gotta talk to Pops about that. I never thought about that.
Yeah, man, you gotta talk to Pops about that, dog. Because the man was supplied with it. He didn't want to cut, but you want to cut.
He dropping me off and picking me up.
Yeah, that's some bullshit.
It's some bullshit, Pops.
Now, you say you always knew you wanted to DJ. Like, when did you know that, and what made you want to get into becoming a DJ? Because I mean, like back then, of course, you know, in that era, you know, and I'm not trying to date you, man.
Nah, we good. I'm past that now.
But nah, back in that era though, they said the DJ was the most important aspect of the hip hop industry at that time. It wasn't the rapper. The rapper was just the MC for the DJ. Right. So was it the fact? Did you want to become a DJ because that's the time you were living in, the DJ was most important, or was it just like you were seeing somebody else doing it, and what was it?
That's a good question. I think like when hip hop really first started, which was a little bit before I got into it, the DJ, it was definitely a DJ thing, like with Grandmaster Flash and Kool Herc, because they had the speakers and they had the turntables, and they just needed somebody to talk while they was DJing. But a little later, like rappers very easily and very quickly took the spotlight from the DJs. Don't get it fucked up. You know what I'm saying? I actually liked playing the background versus being in the front. I never really wanted to want all the focus to be on me. Yeah, I wanted to be a part of the conversation and part of the picture, but I was 100% cool with kind of like being the person kind of like further back out of the spotlight. Because to be honest, I saw from a young age, I realized that the person in the spotlight isn't always the person that's kind of like making shit shake and move. You feel me?
AKA the one with the money.
I mean, yeah, that too. But like, I actually enjoy the mechanics and the different components of like business and entertainment. Like, I enjoy knowing about it and kind of like having influence over that part of the game versus, you know, some people really like performing. Some people like entertaining. Some people like being in front of the camera and being the focus. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. A lot of people get super rich doing that. But for me, that just wasn't never really my thing to be that's the person in the front.
Okay.
So that's one. I love music. I realized young that I could make some money being a DJ. So when I realized that I could do something I love, it just clicked. It just worked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So were you always like one of the first people onto the music, like the music that you were listening to at that time? Because I mean, a lot of times me getting put on music, especially back in the day when I was growing up, the first time I would hear a song was in the club.
Yeah.
Well, not team party, stuff like that. Like, were you always like first on the music?
Not always, but it did come to a point where I realized the value in being first. So I would take extra steps to try to get the music before most people had it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So and I mean, that was really like some of the like, that's when these days DJs don't really have that much power anymore. Yeah. We still definitely contribute. We're part of the conversation, but you know, from like the early 2000s up until probably late 2000s, DJs were really actually quote unquote breaking records.
Facts.
Streaming came along, the internet came along, and now the power of the music is more in the consumer's hand, which I think that's dope. I think that's good. I think that's when you really get a better variety of music because you have less gatekeepers. DJs at some point were playing the role of gatekeepers. They was like, yo, if I don't break this record, or if I don't like this artist, or if I don't fuck with this company or this label, then basically some people ain't gonna get to hear it. Like now we passed all that. You know, artists go direct to consumer, labels go direct to consumer. So I think it's just a better setup and a better landscape definitely for people who love music, but definitely for the artists and for the labels as well.
Yeah, because like I feel like there are two DJs now, two different types of DJs now. You have, you know, of course, your regular DJ like you guys, you know, especially once we put in that groundwork for real, for real.
Yep.
I'm talking about still trying to break records in the club, because records do get broken in the club.
Fucking right. No,
records do get broken in the club.
For DJs to break records.
It is, because it's songs getting broken in Atlanta strip clubs and strip clubs in South Carolina to this day. But then you got your unorthodox playlist. You got Triller. You got the Explore page, and then you got them playlists.
Absolutely.
That's
where the music is broke.
Yes.
The majority of the music. But if a DJ's passion is breaking, like if a DJ's passion is new music and new artists, you can get creative and create your own channels and your own platforms. Nobody's stopping a DJ from starting a new music podcast. Nobody's stopping a DJ from creating their own playlist and sharing it on whatever platform. Shit, nobody's stopping a DJ from putting their 20 favorite songs on a jump drive, on a USB drive, printing up 1,000 from Alibaba, from China, and then handing those out. Like, nobody's stopping DJs from being creative. I think right now, only the DJs that are really passionate and really care about breaking artists and breaking new music are finding ways to do it. The DJs that were only in it for a check, or maybe only in it because they were in that position to break music, now they've kind of like fallen to the wayside and started doing other stuff. But like DJs that are still passionate about working hand in hand with artists and breaking new artists, they'll find ways to do that. If that's what they're really passionate about.
Like Mustard, like what Mustard is doing with his whole putting together albums, producing,
and that's on a high level. You know, that's on a real high level. But I'm even talking about like, you know, locally and regionally, DJs that out here grinding. And just connecting with artists and finding ways to help the artists amplify their music and their presence. There's still room for that, without a doubt. There's probably more room now than ever because nobody's really paying it that much attention anymore. So if a DJ's super hungry and they're super creative and they can figure out ways to network and build their platforms, then I think it's just as much opportunity now than ever for DJs to play that role of breaking music. Yeah. And then if they really got hustle and they really smart and they put a small team together, they got a producer, you know, they got a blogger, a podcast or whatever, and they build their own little fucking squad, that could be really powerful.
It can.
Yeah.
It definitely can. Like, you know, speaking of another podcast, Breaking Music, like, Gilly the Kid has a podcast. It's called $1 Million Worth of Game. They break songs in there all the time.
That's a good example. And I haven't watched a lot of this shit, but their podcast is dope. It's funny as fuck. And that's a really creative way to break music, because while you listening to the podcast because you fuck with them and it's funny, you get new music. I didn't think about that. That's a great example.
Playing shit every episode in the beginning.
That's a good example.
Joe Budden, too.
Yep.
Joe Budden, man.
Yeah, with the little shit they do at the end. What is it?
Sleepers.
There you go. Yeah, it's another creative way to break music.
Yeah.
Yep.
You can't be giving these dudes sauce, man. You're giving these dudes the free game, man. Golly.
I'm just talking about what I see out there.
Yeah.
Nah, for real.
Don't worry. If he's telling you a way to break a record, he's probably done already tried.
And I mean,
he got his own way that he ain't telling you about.
Nah, but speaking of that, just to keep it like 100% real, like it's no formula on how to do this shit.
Nah.
And that's anything, not just music, but since we're talking about music, there's no formula. Like you can you just have to be creative. You have to be smart. You can't do it like the last person did it. You can learn from the last person, learn from their mistakes and their successes, but I think at the end of the day, you have to be super creative. You have to be smart. You have to look at the landscape, find out where the gaps are, find out who's not doing something, identify those gaps, and then dive in and, you know, make your own lane. And that's with anything. That's with music or any other business or whatever. There's no excuse with technology we got and everything readily available, like you're doing with your podcast. There's no excuse not to find a way to do what the fuck you want to do.
Yeah, it's no excuse at all. I always tell people, like, people come to me like, yo, I want to do this, I want to do that. I'm like, bro, just do it.
Just fucking start.
I didn't have no audio engineer homies. Like, I had a homie who told me, yo, you need this, you need that. He didn't teach me how to use it. Google. YouTube. YouTube taught me everything I know.
Dude, it can teach you anything.
I swear. It can teach you how to... Man, I got... My tire blew on my car when I was coming back from Atlanta.
Real shit.
And my lug nut was stuck. I was on the side of the interstate in the rain.
Dude, before YouTube, I couldn't fix shit around my house. Now, like, I can damn near fix anything at the house. Yeah, plumbing shit, too. Like, you got a link under the fucking kitchen sink. I might can fuck with that, too.
With confidence, too.
yeah. Not real shit.
With confidence.
Yeah.
Your wife couldn't be like, babe,
Nah, I got it, man. I got it. Hold tight.
Just chill.
We don't need no fucking plumber.
Yeah, we don't need none of that.
Yeah.
I'm home.
Yeah, YouTubers out here making men of motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying?
It really is, bro. And making millionaires.
Yeah, that too.
It's
Definitely making people millions of dollars for sure. Mm-hmm. And I think like when it comes to anything that's going back to the music and breaking music and DJs and all that, it's about sticking with some shit. You feel me?
Nice.
If you really care about something enough and it's really that important to you, you know what I'm saying? It's gonna be a lag in time before when you start the shit to when you start to see some progress. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Most of the time. Sometimes you jump out the gate and it takes off immediately. But most times you're gonna have to fuck up. It's gonna be boring for a while. It's gonna be repetitive. Mm-hmm. You gonna have some times where ain't nobody watching the podcast, listening to the podcast, whatever. But you just gotta stick with it. And that's fundamental shit with anything in life. That's not just music. I mean, that's just like that shit my grandfather used to tell me. You know, like just basic shit.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep, exactly. Like in the beginning when I first started my podcast back up, you know, people weren't responding to me. People weren't DMing me back, but luckily I had a back catalog of podcasts from 3 years ago. So the goal is to put out a podcast every week. Let's say I don't have a guest for that week.
Yeah.
I'm putting out an episode anyway. I'm going to put out a throwback from 2016 on there.
Yeah.
2017.
Smart.
So now I haven't had to do that in like 2 months.
Because you got fresh shit.
I just kept going.
New episodes.
Just kept going.
And I think that's important, man, because like you got to make the time for what you're doing.
Yep.
You know? If you spitting out 2-3 episodes a week, that's going to take time to do it. But you're constantly getting better. Like you said, you're constantly building your catalog. And before you know it, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months from now, you could look back and shit is going to add up. Mm-hmm. And it's going to actually give you something to stand on moving forward. Yeah. And again, I think this is anything in life you're trying to do. You got to be willing to put in the work and do the boring shit, do the mundane shit, the shit that you don't want to do, the shit that sometimes is difficult, sometimes it's uncomfortable. You got to be strong enough and just have enough fucking nuts just to power through and do it.
Thanks.
Yeah, and people will talk shit about you, laugh at you. Your numbers ain't high. Your music ain't this. What? So the fuck? What? Like who cares?
Right. Because everybody started here.
Yeah.
Everybody started here.
Yeah, and I know some people make it seem like they didn't. Some people want to paint a picture like out the gate they was doing this, that, and the third. But like we all know, you start from zero. I don't give a fuck who you are.
Jay-Z started from nothing. No label wanted to sign him.
Yeah, I mean it's a million examples. Hov and like real shit.
Facts.
Like anybody that's fucking successful, especially in music. Like you start from nothing. Yeah.
Yeah. Now speaking of that, right? That's a good segue. You know, what did your family think? Because you from the low country of South Carolina. You telling your mom, your granddaddy who letting you pick peanuts. I'd imagine. I can see your granddad being a guy, you know, overalls, boots, or whatever.
Yeah, well,
you telling me you want to be a DJ, like, what?
Well, I mean, luckily, like, my grandpops, he was retired Air Force. He was retired from the Air Force. He didn't actually go to the Air Force. I think he worked on planes or something. So, like, he was retired from the Air Force. And like I said, he's real like country, like farms, fucking with cows and shit like that. We used to like pick vegetables out of his garden, and he would sell them on the side of the road. Like you see people on the side of the road with the vegetable stand. That's what he did. So I don't even think he had a clue. Like he didn't know what the fuck I was doing.
Yeah.
But my mom, she knew, and she was always the one like encouraging it. You know what I'm saying? She was always the one like vouching for me. Like, just let him cook. Let him do what he does. Let's get him the trumpet. Or get him the little fucking record player, buy him that record. You know, she was always the one that was kind of like pushing me along. Pops, like once Pops seen that I could make a little change off of it, that's when he was like, that's when he kind of gave me some space and backed up and was like, all right, do what you do.
Just let me get my 10%.
Right. Yeah, Pops was kind of gangster with it.
He was gangster with it? Pops wanted the duckies. When you brought in that chain, that money, his eyes lit up. He's like, oh, you can make money from this?
Yeah, nah, because I remember like at one point, I was like 16 or 17, and I had this, I was a house DJ at this one club. Like I used to do that shit every Friday and Saturday. And it wasn't a lot. It was like 150 a night or whatever. And I remember at one point, like I said, I was 16 and 17. I got into an argument with the club owner for whatever reason. And I was like thinking about quitting that shit. Mm-hmm. Pops was like, you must be out of your fucking mind. You making $150 a night, $300 a week for DJing for like 4 or 5 hours. Like, what are y'all alternatives at 16? So he basically kind of like brought me back to reality. And that's, you know, like I said, once he seen that I could actually bring in some change doing the shit, he was cool with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, you 16 making that type of paper, right? What is that doing to your mental?
I was still working at McDonald's during the week, too, though. Like, I was working at McDonald's during the week, going to school, and then DJing Fridays and Saturday nights. I was like, you know, 16 years old. I just wanted to spend that shit on clothes. Like every fucking dollar I got, I would spend that shit on clothes or music. Like, you know, go to the record store, buy the vinyl. That's when DJs still use vinyl and shit. So I was going to the store.
No Serato.
No Serato yet. Buying records, you know. Shit, I was living a life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, what were you wearing at that time? What was DJ B-Lord's perfect outfit?
Dog, my fucking wardrobe was still trash. Even with a side hustle and a job, I don't even know. It was definitely not name brand shit.
It wasn't? Nah. Even though you making that type of bread?
I mean, my sneakers was probably name brand shit, but like the gear was just whack. I didn't have good taste in clothes.
You didn't?
Nah, my shit was terrible. It's still kind of trash, to be honest. Yo, thank God for fucking Instagram and shit. I can like see, oh, this shit is kind of hot.
Yeah.
My taste. Nah, I like regular shit, man. Like I was never even when I started making money. Like I was never into all the design, like the high expensive designer shit. That's really, to me, like I'll be 100% honest. I get it. I understand why motherfuckers do it. Mm-hmm. To me, it's a waste of bread. Like I got so many other things I would rather do with my bread than spend it on designer clothes. You know, no offense to nobody who does it. Like I said, I definitely understand. I get it, but that just ain't me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man. Like, I'd imagine, you know, with you being in the lifestyle, you being around the industry and stuff like that, you pick up and be like, you know what, I want to shine too.
Nah, I mean, go back and look at the pictures. Like, I standing next to motherfuckers who got on probably $30,000, $40,000 worth of jewelry. I got on my little $5,000 A4 3-piece, or these motherfuckers rock Gucci, Prada, Balenciaga, whatever. I got on my Levi's and my Jordans. It's just what I was comfortable in. And again, I think that goes back to me not wanting to be all the way in the spotlight. Like, I was way more comfortable being the DJ in the background, like helping, move the pieces around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Word. Now, being that you were 16 DJing in the club and stuff like that, I'd imagine, you probably did that for a couple of years. Now, were you comfortable with doing that, or was it like, it's another level I need to get to? Like, as far as me being a DJ?
I love doing parties. Like, I love doing clubs. That was always...
just that one club, though. You see what I'm saying? Did you graduate to doing more? Like, nah, this ain't enough.
Yeah,
like,
at that time, I was just kind of like holding me down with the week-to-week money shit. Mm-hmm. I definitely knew it was going to come a time when I wanted to branch out. And it wasn't long after that. Like I said, I got into an argument with that club owner. And not long after that, I started throwing my own parties. You know what I'm saying? Like renting out the National Guard Army and shit like that. And packing in 600, 700, 800 people. And now I'm getting all the bread. And, that was mainly because... the club owner tried to I can't stand for somebody to try to box me in or hold me back. And that's what he was trying to do. That's what we were arguing about. So from that moment, that young age, I realized that it's all really in your control. It may not be instant, but for you to take that first step and that first, jump off the porch and do shit yourself and pursue your interests versus just being comfortable and relying on somebody else's machine to take care of you. That's kind of like when I realized that that's the move. That's the only way to do this shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That conversation woke you up. Yeah,
for sure. And that's really what kind of sparked my whole kind of fire to become a quote unquote name brand DJ, because at that moment I realized that's the only way it was going to happen. Mm-hmm. I realized that it was on me, you know what I'm saying, to grind it out and to make that happen, whatever that meant, you know what I'm saying, whatever that meant. Yeah. I knew that it was on me, and I couldn't wait on anybody else to do it.
Where'd you get that boss mentality from?
I think it goes back to like my grandfather, you know, my pops. My pops was an entrepreneur. He wasn't at first, but later in his life, like he started his own business, like refinishing bathtubs. He started that when I was probably 15, 16, so I got to see him do it. And to be honest, like just working at McDonald's, fam, I was like, yo, I can't do this shit. Like, and it wasn't just because it was McDonald's. It was like, yo, you gotta wear this. You gotta put on the fucking hat. You gotta put on the slacks. You can't. They wouldn't even let you have a beard.
Right.
So I'm like, there's no way I can do this.
And it's not even worth the money that they giving me.
Bruh, it's just like, I just realized right then and there, it was like, I can't fucking do this. I have to be my own boss. You know what I'm saying? I have to be accountable for me.
Yeah.
You feel me?
At 16, you knew that.
I definitely knew that at the age of 16. Wow. But I also knew that I also accepted the fact that might not be able to happen tomorrow. So it took me a few more years of grinding it out, making plays here and there, and doing other shit on the side before I actually realized that. But I definitely knew it at that time that there was no way that I was going to work a 9 to 5.
Wow.
Yeah.
How did your family was supportive of that? Like you being your own boss?
Well, it was just me and my pops, because him and my mom split up. So my pops he was 100% with it. 100%, because that's what he was doing. Mm-hmm. Like he was able at some point to quit his job and do the bathtub refinishing and all that shit full time. So he was definitely 100% with it.
That's love.
Yeah, it was. No, that was a blessing within itself, because I know a lot of people's parents just don't see the vision. But I think him being the man that he is, having that entrepreneurial kind of like spirit, not wanting to work for anybody else, I think that's the only way that I was able to kind of like maneuver that way without the pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Now, I'd imagine, especially when you want to become your own boss and stuff like that, and like you said, you knew it wouldn't be easy. What are some pitfalls that you face, like, early on? Like, when you trying to expand, of course, you being a DJ, you're talented, right? People want to book you. They want to have you become the house DJ. What are some pitfalls you face when you wanted to actually expand and start throwing your own parties and doing your own thing?
That's a good question. I mean, like, it's always you're going to have to make sacrifices. So, like, a lot of people talk shit about DJs who are out here DJing for $150. That's not always a bad move.
It's a lot of bread.
I mean, but some people talk down on DJs who DJ for $150. They're like, they should be charging more. But when you first starting out, a lot of time that's a way for you to get your name out. Yeah. That's a way for you to get your foot in your door. That's a way for you to build your brand. So I think it works both ways. You gotta always know your worth, but at the same time, you gotta be realistic about where you're at and where you need to go and how you're gonna get there. So I mean, pitfalls like being a DJ, being a businessman, being an entrepreneur is always just learning how to take calculated risks. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't like they think it's cool to risk it all. I don't think it's cool to risk it all. I think it's cool to make calculated risks. I think you should be strategic no matter what you do. I don't give a fuck what you do in life. Whether it's doing a podcast, being a DJ, business owner, whatever, you have to be strategic, meaning you have to put some thought into the moves you make. You got to think about the landscape of the industry you're in. You got to think about the competition. You got to think about what other people are doing. You got to think about what other people aren't doing. Because maybe there's a gap right there. Maybe nobody's doing this certain one thing. Maybe you happen to be good at that and you could do that. So it's just, I think, bottom line, being a successful DJ or whatever, rapper, manager, label owner, whatever, is just be strategic. Learn by watching some of the greats. Go back and study some of the greats who've been able to pull it off in a big way, like Master P, or whoever. More recent example would be Coach K&P from QC. Just study the greats and how they move. They're not dumb people.
Yeah.
Dumb motherfuckers don't make it big and keep it.
Nah.
Study the people who was able to make moves and withstand the losses and withstand the speed bumps and jump the hurdles and still pull it off. That's why I salute, QC. They've been able to pull off almost the unthinkable in the modern era of music.
And be innovative.
And still being innovative. Yeah. And they still not done. They still got a long ways to go.
Nah, they do, bro. And I haven't seen a label.
Nah.
I haven't seen a label swing that many times and hit.
Yeah.
I'm talking about literally.
Yeah.
From the Migos, Jose Guapo, Skipper the Flipper, OG Maco, Lil Baby, Marlo, City Girls. I mean, the list goes on.
And they still got a stable of like fresh artists that they're still grooming and still like, they're waiting in the wings, waiting for their shot. So it's far from over.
The last label I saw do that was Rockefeller.
Probably so.
With that many artists and that many artists being successful.
That's true. That's a good example. Yeah.
That's my favorite era in music.
Rockefeller?
Yes.
Yeah, that was a special time.
Man, just that whole time. I'm talking about Dipset.
That's Cash Money. Yeah. That's a special time.
That's a special time, man. That was a jet.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
now, they
man.
did it like bigger than life, though, because I think back then it was like that's when you still had gatekeepers. So, like, once you got through the door, like the world was yours. You know what I'm saying? So it always seemed bigger than life for like that era. Like Cash Money was bigger than life. Rockefeller was bigger than life. Even to this day, people are talking about like Rockefeller and Cash Money. That's just how influential and impactful that era was. Yeah. And I'm sure like 10 years from now, 20 years from now, people will be talking about QC and the impact that Migos, City Girls, and them Lil Baby had. I think so.
Yeah,
I think so.
I know they will.
I mean, 10 billion streams, fam. That's a lot. And that's just over those 4 projects.
Yes.
Like, that's not counting what's coming out now and what's coming out in the next 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
And that's one artist.
One artist. And it's crazy, Lil Baby. It's crazy how this moment is coming full circle, right? So, your first Red Cup Kickback, right? I'm at 2 Official Promotions. Shout out to
2 Official. What up, fam?
So, I ended up doing a promo with him. When I first moved to Atlanta, I had no money.
Yeah.
The day after I moved out there, I met up with him and he let me work for him.
He's good people, man. 2 Official is good people.
Put money in my pocket. He's a good dude.
Definitely.
And we were working Lil Baby's second mixtape with my dog on it.
Yeah.
And dog, it was so crazy. Like Lil Baby had, cause like in Atlanta, it's different. Like the music industry is different here than it is in Atlanta. So like artists will book a club that's already has a party that night and just put their face on the flyer saying that this is my mixtape release party, but nobody in the party knew that unless you knew who Lil Baby was.
Yep.
So
that's smart. That's strategic.
Strategic as fuck.
Yeah.
So people were walking out of the club and we were passing out Lil Baby CDs and they were like, "Who the fuck is Lil Baby?" And we were like, "This is the person's album release party you just left from."
That's
like,
great.
Oh, okay,
that's
cool.
Smart. Yeah.
But Lil Baby ended up blowing up like 2 months later.
Yep.
And now he's like one of the biggest artists in the world. And he's been so consistent.
Yeah.
And I remember that dude. He was a young dude with 2 watches on. And a bunch of chains. And he was with like 30 dudes. And just seeing his success and him becoming like an actual artist versus just a street artist is just so dope to me. And this moment is full circle because I met him and him because of you.
That's crazy.
That's your kickback.
It's crazy though because now that you say that, one of the things I realized recently, like in the last couple of weeks, is I really love bringing people together.
Yeah.
That's why I was able to, and still able to do the Red Cup Kickbacks for so long without really making bread off of it, is I just love bringing people together like in an environment that allows people to have those type of conversations.
Yeah.
It's not like a club, motherfuckers popping bottles and VIP. It's just like a fucking little, let's get together, let's relax, let's kick back, let's network type shit. So it's funny you mentioned that. That's a dope story. I like that. That's real shit. That's how it happens though. Like that's how shit happens in life. Yeah. It happens like that. Big shit like that happens because of shit like that. Yeah.
And me meeting you. The Red Cup Kickback, I met you, that was my second one. And I went there, I said, I'm going to meet B-Lord and I'm going to interview him. That's facts. I ain't going to lie to you, man. I be grinding. I be editing my videos, doing podcasts. That's what I do in my free time.
Nah, real shit. So, I can tell. And just by that conversation we had outside the venue for the Red Cup Kickback, like within two seconds or 20 seconds of talking to you, I was like, yeah, this motherfucker's working. He's grinding. He's smart. He's strategic. And he cares about what he's doing. That's super fucking important, man. We all want the money. We all want the bag. But you got to give a fuck about what you're doing. In one form or another. You know, I'm not saying you got to be a rap fanatic if you're a rapper. But you got to give a fuck about the music. You got to give a fuck about how you present yourself. You got to give a fuck about all that shit. You got to care.
You do. You do. And you got to know the history a little bit to care.
That helps.
You got to know the history a little bit. And you know what? History is relative, dog. Like, kids today, like Playboy Cardi, he always say Chief Keef is his favorite rapper. He knows history. He knows his history. He knows something about hip-hop that came before him.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So history is relative. You ain't got to know about Grandmaster Flash, but you know about the history and the people that came before you.
Because it gives you context as an artist and as a person. Like, you kind of like you're aware of your place in the overall landscape. So that allows you to be a little more strategic about how you approach the music, about how you approach the marketing of the music, about the producers you work with, about your just sound. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just knowing people that came before you, knowing the music and how they did shit, it just gives you more context and more shit to go off of. It allows you to be more strategic because you're aware.
Yep, I agree, man.
Yeah.
Yep, and it gives you some inspiration too, something
That
to aspire
too.
to be like.
Nah, that's important.
Something to aspire to be like.
That's important.
You don't necessarily want your career to be just like theirs, but I mean, of course, you want it to resemble it a little bit.
Because you see his story, you see where he came from
Yeah.
and where he went with it. So it's letting you know I got a shot at this shit too. It's like Master P is probably one of the most inspirational persons in music to me because at the time when P started bubbling with his whole movement, Louisiana didn't have anybody. New Orleans didn't have it was no successful rap artist who made it on a national scale from Louisiana. So being from South Carolina, I could relate to that. And we watched what Master P did with No Limit and the whole movie and how that shit exploded and then him doing movies and all this other shit and other type of businesses. So that right there, what you just said, is one of the reasons why he's so inspirational to me because he lets you know it's possible. Shit like that lets you know it is possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It lets you know it's possible, man. And a lot of times people don't want to take the steps that P took. P
Of course not.
literally is the definition of independent in all aspects, whether it's down to rap snacks, down to music, down to movies, all of that shit. He's the definition of independent. And my I guess you can call it my muse or somebody that I aspire to be like is Nipsey Hussle. And it's not even, I don't want to be a rapper. I tried rap. It didn't work, dog. But I was actually a pretty decent
a rapper?
Yeah, man, for like 2 years.
You got some shit on YouTube that we can look up?
SoundCloud. Shaq Sims. It's called the SSEP.
All right, you never know. That shit might resurface.
Now, when people see me, a lot of people see me and be like, yo, you should drop another mixtape.
Okay.
I'm not going to do it, though. Sorry.
Never know. Never say never.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
I might be a little size, a little quick lick, real quick.
Yeah, it might be, man. This podcast do some numbers, man. Blow up, man. I get this streaming money and stop rapping. Go on a little tour after that.
Never know.
Yeah, I'm done rapping. I'm going to just tour my podcast. That'd be dope, man. I can do like a rap tour and a podcast.
Oh, now you really thinking about that shit, right?
Nah, listen, man. I got some stuff in the works, man, and that might fit into that.
It might, bro. Never say never.
Damn, B-Lord. But I aspire to be like Nipsey, man, because Nipsey literally, he was a rapper, but he didn't pigeonhole himself.
Yep.
One of the things that was bigger than his music before his music got big was his clothing line.
Right. And look, Nipsey, I don't mean to cut you off,
but
he was smart. Like he put thought into what he did. Like when he dropped the mixtape, the $100 mixtape shit. You know what I'm saying? Like him and his team was like constantly figuring out ways to get people's attention.
Yeah.
To do shit different, to try different shit. So I mean, like it's a common thread you see with people who are successful. It's always that common thread of people figuring out new ways to break through. Like you were talking about Lil Baby doing a release party at a club that's already popping. Just little simple shit like that. Little nuances and shit that you can figure out just to get the edge and get ahead and get recognition. I think that's the common thread that runs between all successful people in hip-hop and in business. They figure out new and innovative and creative ways to get ahead, ways to make it work. You feel me?
And I think that comes with consistency. Like, if you just keep going and keep doing what you're doing, you'll figure out different ways.
It's part of the process.
Facts, man.
Dude, it's just like fucking up is part of the process. You're going to fuck up. You might fuck up 10 times, but that 11th time might be that one time where you figure that shit out. It's just part of the process.
You find your groove.
Yeah, definitely.
You find your groove.
I did a post on Instagram about that shit yesterday. That shit said, the magic you're looking for is in the work you're avoiding. If you do the work, the magic happens. You feel me? It does. It's really part of the process.
It does.
It comes out of the work. It's hard to avoid it. If you're really doing the work and you're really serious about it and you're putting in the work and you're putting your mind into it and your heart into it, it's almost impossible not to succeed.
Yeah, man. And it's so crazy how things just work in your favor when you keep going. When you just keep fucking going. Like, and then, when you put it in the atmosphere, because, like, I didn't believe in manifestation, like manifesting things, speaking it into existence.
Right.
But it's so crazy. Like, every time I put something in the atmosphere, it appears, man. Like, that night when I went to the Red Cup kickback, because I didn't plan on coming. I didn't even know about it. So I woke up, I'm like, oh oh, Red Cup Kickback. First thing that was on my timeline. I'll hit my homie. I'm like, yo, you want to go to the Red Cup Kickback? I want to meet B-Lord so I can interview him. This is a fact. And matter of fact, Seti B is my cousin because I called Seti B.
Seti B
was
fucking
like,
with that tequila.
See, Seti B was like, B-Lord gonna charge you, bruh. B-Lord gonna charge you. I'm like, nah, man, this for the city, man. B-Lord not gonna charge me.
What, charge you for the podcast?
Yeah.
Hell nah.
Yeah.
Fuck, I look like charging for. Nah. Seti know, so he knows where my mind is at, though.
Yeah, it's all about the bag, baby. But I'm like, nah, man, B-Lord not that type of dude, man.
Nah, man.
He's not that type of dude.
I'm getting just as much out of this on some real shit as you are, because this is part of the process. Going back to the process, like, this is part of the process of just life and building and growing. You know what I'm saying? Just chopping it up with people like yourself. Other people. I got another quote. Hold up. Go ahead and talk about something, because I got to find this fucking quote.
Oh, yeah. So that day I was like, yo, I'm going to meet B-Lord tonight. And literally, I was in the Red Cup Kickback. I saw you walking around.
Yeah.
And my homie, he was like, you want to go outside and smoke? I'm like, all right, cool. And I swear to God, you was like right in my view. I'm like,
it was magic. It was
open
magic.
shot, baby.
It was magic.
Open shot, baby.
It was meant to happen.
It was meant to happen.
Nah, real shit.
It was meant to happen.
Hey, so here's the quote, right? It says, we are all still striving, and it is the strivers who should be our peers, not the proud and the accomplished. So, right, you're my peer, because we're both still striving. That's why I'm doing the podcast and I'm not charging for it, because I'm part of the process. You're part of the process. You feel me? I'm getting just as much out of this as you are. Who the fuck knows what's going to come out of this podcast from me? You feel me? Because we're strivers. We still know it's a long ways to go. I'm still in that same fucking process. You feel me? It might be a different process for me than it was 5 or 10 or 15 years ago, but it's still it's a lifelong process. Like, the process never stops. Unless you choose to quit or you choose to stop, but the process never stops. And that's what you see with people who, like, you know, you mentioned Jay-Z earlier. You see that he never stops. It changes, it grows, it develops and turns into other shit, but the process never stops.
And he always starts new chapters in his business endeavors and his life.
Exactly.
He does so many different things.
And he accepts the growth. He's not trying to, like, be what he was 5 years ago. You feel me? He's accepting the growth. And that's what, I mean, that's life. That's living life to its fullest potential. You know, and I don't know if that's for everybody, but it's definitely for some people. You know, people like yourself who care and who put the do the work. It's definitely for us, the strivers, people who strive. Yeah. And I aspire to be like those guys, man, because I notice it's a common thing with all successful people. Yep.
It's a common theme. And I'm like, man, had I known this shit 10 years ago,
right,
I'd be so rich right now. But it's like, you know, you learn everything in due time.
Yep.
But I know this is a common thing with those guys, man. They never stop and they never pigeonhole themselves.
Nah.
They'll never say, yo, I'm just a rapper. I'm not going to do that. What I look like caring about real estate.
Yep.
What I look like caring about this. Like, who would have thought Jay-Z from 96 coming out with Reasonable Doubt, with Pain in the Ass on his album intro talking about selling cocaine and shit, would be working for the NFL as a commissioner or whatever the hell he is.
And all this other shit. He's involved in so much shit. It's
so
like,
much.
It's crazy.
Yeah, who would have thought Jay-Z? You know what I mean?
Look at somebody like Kevin Hart outside of music. Someone like Kevin Hart, the same shit.
Yeah.
Like, he started off doing stand-up in Philly in those little hole-in-the-wall clubs and shit when he was like 17, 18, 19 or whatever. And now look at him now. You know, it's so many examples, and I think, like you said earlier, the common theme and the common thread on all that is just not giving up, just not stopping. Of course, you want to be successful enough along the way to maintain, but that just because you gain a certain amount of success or whatever doesn't mean you stop. Why would you stop?
Yeah.
You know, if that's what you want, and maybe everybody don't want that. Maybe some people want to secure the bag and then fall back and do something different. That's cool too. But again, like the way I feel and the way I know that I'm built is that it never ends.
Yeah. There's gonna always be something new that you want to do.
Always.
And then you're gonna have to keep becoming fresh at whatever it is that you do.
Yeah,
you're gonna have to. It's new ways.
If it's something new that you're trying, you're gonna fuck up.
Yeah. And even it's something that you've been doing for 20 years, like DJing. Serato came into the play.
Exactly.
Throwing your vinyl away. Ain't no more carrying the crates,
nah,
y'all. You don't need an assistant no more, man, to carry the crates for you, man.
And when shit like Serato comes along, it gives you a chance to innovate. It gives you a chance to do shit different, which is good.
Yeah.
You know, I saw a lot of DJs who fell off because they didn't want to change. They wanted to keep doing the shit that was working for them 5 years ago. But we all know business and life and whatever, the shit that was working 5 years ago isn't guaranteed to work tomorrow. You know, the shit that worked a year ago or 2 months ago is not guaranteed to work for you tomorrow. You gotta constantly stay strategic.
Yeah.
You know, you gotta pay attention, see what the fuck's going on, and adapt when you need to.
Right. Now, speaking of adapting, right, and things changing. You know,
Oh, it's going to be a part 2 to this interview.
Fact.
This is part 1.
This is part 1, by the way. Yeah. It's going to be,
I didn't mean to cut you off.
This man got a crazy history. But, you know, speaking of things changing, you know, you seen it go from tapes to mixtapes to albums to streaming.
Yeah.
What, before streaming, it was LimeWire.
Yeah.
Hijacked pirated music.
Yeah.
And then it came to streaming, right?
Yeah.
So, how was the mixtape era? Because you were, like, heavy into the mixtapes. Like, how was that? Was that lucrative for you?
Not on a not money-wise, it wasn't very lucrative, but it allowed you, it wasn't no limits to what you could do. Like, as long as you was willing to do the tapes, get the tapes out, you know, drive around to the different bootleg spots and stores and shit, it was just a super good way to get new music out. It was a it was a good way to build your fan base, to get people to fuck with you as a DJ. It's almost like streaming now. Like it's really what you're willing to put in to get it done. It was like no limits to this shit. You know, it was stores up and down the East Coast that sold mixtapes. Yeah. You feel me? So if you was willing to do the groundwork, do the footwork, make the calls, do the networking to meet all those different people at those different stores and willing to get them the actual fucking hard copies of the tapes and work out the deals that you was willing to work out, then like I said, it was no limit. It was people like Drama who fucking, you know, that shit was massive for Drama. It was massive for hip hop. Yeah. But for Drama specifically as a DJ, it was like without mixtapes, we probably would have never heard of Drama. And without Drama doing what he did with Gangsta Grills, mixtapes probably would have never became so big that the feds came in and eventually started shutting the shit down. So I mean, the mixtapes was just another form of like doing what the fuck you want to do as long as you're willing to put in the groundwork.
It's like the internet. That was like the internet.
Pre-internet. It was
that
the
was
internet.
Like the internet, the mixtape era, because you could really like, it was no, because you know, it was kind of hard to like put your own CD and stuff like that together and get it out to the masses. Yeah. But like when the mixtapes came, you could literally, like I remember somebody put a conversation with somebody baby mama on the mixtape. Dudes was beefing, like it was
and
phone
that shit went viral.
That shit went
CDs
through in the streets. You know what I mean? But it was like the internet, pre-internet. Like you could really do what you want to do. And
it was like the super slow version of the internet.
Super slow, but dog, word traveled fast back then.
Real shit.
Word traveled fast, man.
Nah, that's real shit.
Yeah, word traveled fast. Now you brought up Drama, and that was gonna be my next question. Like, you know, Drama got raided by the feds. For those who don't know, that's why you know you don't really hear too much Gangsta Grills. Yep. And that was an era, man.
And I think that was a part of the record industry cracking down on like free music, and I think that was all part of the big play to try to get music back under the record label's control. And I'm not saying it was right or wrong, whatever Drama and the mixtape DJs was doing, but I do think that was a big blow. That was a big part of the music industry being able to get back control of the music. Because like you said, after the feds raided Drama and them, mixtapes took a hit. Like they was around for a little while, you heard shit here and there, but like motherfuckers was scared to do it because they knew the feds was was onto that shit.
That was an era, dog.
It was a huge era.
I miss them.
Yeah.
Do you miss them?
Just the Gangsta Grills too. Yeah, definitely.
Just being able, you doing your own mixtapes, like just being able to do that.
Nah, I'm about to. It's a new creative way I'm gonna start doing mixtapes, and maybe we'll talk about that in part 2. But I definitely miss it because it's a chance for a DJ. Like being on the radio, one thing, being in the club is one thing, but as a DJ, it gives you more freedom, more creative freedom. Like I said, you can do and say whatever the fuck you want to say on a mixtape. You can put whatever music on there. You can say what the fuck you want to say. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I do miss that creative outlet.
And then dropping shit, them drops.
Yeah, the drops.
Oh my God.
Yeah, the shit talking. Yeah. Like talking that big boy shit.
You motherfucking DJs don't know who the fuck I am by now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start this shit over. Like, damn, 3 minutes song be 10 minutes, right?
Yeah. Nah, that's real shit.
Now, were you scared when Drama got raided?
Nah,
Like,
because I wasn't a huge player in the mixtapes like Drama was.
Yeah.
Like Drama was killing it. And there was a lot of other DJs like that wasn't as high profile as Drama, but there was a lot of DJs who was eating off the, the bootleg CDs and shit. So I wasn't worried at all. I wasn't on the radar.
if I would have put out one mixtape back then, I'd have been scared. I'd have got me a lawyer.
Nah, motherfuckers, they stopped doing that shit after Drum. Like motherfuckers definitely was like, nah, it ain't worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, how do you feel about streaming, man? Like, as far as like the way the game has changed today, when it comes to the music and shit like that, like, how do you feel about that? Like,
I love streaming.
Miss it?
Huh?
Do you miss it when
Nah.
people were selling CDs?
Man,
and all
the
that stuff?
way things happen is the way it's supposed to happen, and I accept that because it's pros and cons to everything. I think the good shit about streaming, the first thing is the music industry starting to make money again. I think that's important. Not that I give a fuck about the labels making money, but it creates a healthy environment for artists to have opportunities. If the labels, because the label is the plug regardless. You get to a certain point on your own, but at some point, you probably gonna need to partner with a label or some other entity to get you to the next step. Like QC partnered with Capital for Lil Baby.
Yeah.
You need that big machine, right? So as long as the big machines are healthy again, they're eating, they got money, that means they have more bread to break with imprints and artists. You feel me? So streaming is helping the record industry become healthy again. Streaming is also obviously doing away with all the gatekeepers who were keeping artists from breaking their own music. Now you can break your own music as an artist. You feel me? You can go. It's a hustle. It's a grind. It's not easy by any stretch of the imagination, but it's totally possible now. So now you got the best of both worlds. You got an open landscape to do what the fuck you want to do with your music, to move and network and get your music out. But you also have waiting for you a healthy music industry to pick you up and take you to the next step. And as long as you're like people talk about the music industry ripping people off and fucking people, giving them bad deals, that's absolutely true. They do that, but they only do that if you let them do that.
And if you don't have leverage.
Exactly. They only do that if you let them do that. If you have leverage and you're able to negotiate and you know what the fuck you're talking about, or you have a lawyer that knows what the fuck they're talking about, they can't do shit that you don't let them do. And there has been a lot of deals like that in the past 3 to 5 years because artists got leverage now because of streaming. So I think it's a beautiful thing. It's healthy.
Yeah. And I was saying, do you miss the industry back when it was CDs? Because, I mean, dog, looking at CD prices back then, $15, $25, maybe $30 for a two-tape CD, like, do you miss that type of bread? Because I'd imagine it trickles down to the DJs. I'd imagine it trickles down to the club promoters and everything because artists is making more money from their music and labels are too.
The labels was definitely printing money back in those days. They was killing the game. And it was definitely trickling down to everybody in the music business. But that creates too much comfort. Motherfuckers got too comfortable.
Yeah.
People became too comfortable with their positions, from the labels to the DJs to whoever, and that's why it got fucked up. And that's why it was so easy to shatter that model, that business model, because everybody got too comfortable and too stuck on doing things one way. That's why LimeWire and Napster and all those pirate sites and shit was able to shatter that business model so quick because motherfuckers was too comfortable. So I mean, I miss some of the aspects of it, but not really. Yeah, it happened because it was supposed to happen.
Was it more fun back then?
What, being a DJ?
Just the industry, period.
Yeah, I mean, because for one reason and one reason only, because they used to have these like music conventions, and like DJs used to get flued out for free. Used to get all type of free perks and shit. So I mean, yeah, that part was fun.
Yeah,
no doubt about it.
Yeah,
I kind of missed that shit a little bit now that you mentioned it.
That shit had to be dope. That shit had to be dope. And then, like, the world felt much bigger back then. Especially to me being a kid because there wasn't the internet. You know, you got the whole world in your hands. Literally, you can see how far it takes you to get to New Orleans.
That's a great point.
Yeah,
great point. But I think that's also just the progress we making as humans and shit. As technology evolves, we become more aware of the actual landscape versus how we perceive it. Because now, like you said, you can look on your phone and figure out almost anything.
Literally.
So everything isn't such this big mystery or this, now it's like, oh, that's how you do that shit.
Yeah.
So it's not really a big deal anymore.
Yep.
Yeah.
Back then seemed fun, man, looking at the videos back in the day. Because that's when y'all had real music videos. Like,
Right.
You know, I look back at videos like the first one that come to mind, and this is, I don't know why this one came to mind, R. Kelly Fiesta video.
Oh yeah, no,
that was a crazy video.
Yeah,
you know, Big Pimp and Jay-Z, like those were real.
Yeah, that was like the epitome of those videos for that era, like the Hype Williams type videos, the $1 million budgets and shit. Yeah, but again, they will fucking waste that money, man.
Yeah,
they didn't have to shoot $1 million video to sell those albums. Them shits would have sold themselves. So
I don't know, they might not have though.
You don't think so?
Without them videos, because image was everything back then. Literally, your image was everything. Like if you got caught with your pants down, like. you was dead out here.
True.
Like you were dead. Like I remember being a kid. Like nigga, 50 Cent say Ja Rule whack. Nigga, I'm not listening to that.
It was
nigga,
done.
Son.
Nah, that's a good
dub.
point. That's
He's
a good
done.
point. But to that point though, I think that goes more back to the power of the artist versus the perception and the money that was spent. Cause 50 at that time was he was the new motherfucker. He was the hot motherfucker, and Ja Rule was kind of like the motherfucker who been doing this shit.
It was just image, Like I said, you get caught with your pants down. Jay-Z, even as a kid, I knew Jay-Z was the money man. Money ain't a thing. You had to have an extravagant $1 million video.
True. You had to be able to paint that picture.
You had to, whatever it was. I don't care.
If that was your image, or if you was DMX and that wasn't your image, then maybe you didn't need the $1 million video.
You didn't. But I feel like DMX probably didn't have $1 million. Well, nah, X gonna give it to you. It was $1 million video.
He had $1 million videos later in his career.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Because X was selling like 10 million copies an album.
And he came out with 2 in 1 year.
1 year. He was the only artist to do that shit or something. Yeah.
That shit was crazy.
Yeah.
Where were you at in this era? Like of all
I
of
was
this
just
shit?
just getting warmed up, like just starting and shit, like just starting to build my contacts. I would like drive around. I would go to like Miami to the music conferences, go to New York. I used to spend a lot of time in VA. I used to drive up and down 95 a lot. Just like building my brand, you know what I'm saying? Passing out free CDs, passing out flyers and shit, building relationships. It's funny, my man who actually sent me this plaque from Capitol, I've known him for like 15 years. You know, he's been working in the music industry ever. He's like one of those first contacts, like with you and Too Official, kind of like one of those day one type motherfuckers that y'all just kind of connected and built a long-standing relationship. So I was just really getting started, and all that shit was inspirational. And it's like back in the day, we used to go down to Miami to those music conferences, and you could actually like meet like Diddy, like you could meet fucking Hov and them. You know what I'm saying? You could roll up on them and like actually chop it up. So I think you said something earlier that the internet and streaming kind of broke the boundaries down. Which at the end of the day, even though that shit seemed more fun back then, I think the current model is definitely a better model. And I think it's healthier.
It is.
You know what I'm saying? Like just for people in general. Like back then it's like, you know, you aspire to spend that type of money and do the type of shit they was doing, but that's not necessarily realistic for 99.9% of the people on the planet. Now we have a much more like diverse and comprehensive view of what it actually is to be an artist. You see what I'm saying? And I think that's better. I think that's more healthy.
Yeah, and I think when you give people a choice, people will choose what they want to do. Like you got kids like YBN, Corday, right?
You got different lanes you could go down.
He's with YBN, like YBN Namir. They got diamond chains and necklaces. This dude don't wear no jewelry.
Yeah.
We gave him a choice with this era.
Absolutely.
Like, you know, he can blow up in this era being him.
Yeah, people can be themselves.
Yes, bro. But when you give people, people have no choice, like J. Cole said it when he came out with that song, "You Got a Good Thing."
Yeah.
Dog, he was trying to be somebody he wasn't, so he could blow up, so he can make the songs like KOD and albums like that. You know what I mean? It is way healthier now than it was back then, and I like it that way too. And then at the same time, people can't hold their nuts on you just because they're a star no more.
Real
like,
shit.
They can't hold their nuts on you. It's like, bro, what your numbers doing? You got academics posting first week sales every time an album comes out.
That's real shit. So the facade is easy to break down these days. Like it's not all that bullshit.
Yeah, it's dead.
And I think that's important. That's not only important for the state of the music industry. I think that's just important for like the people. To know what the fuck is really going on, so you can make your decisions based on what the fuck is really going on versus what they want you to think is going on. Makes sense, right? Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense, man. You know what I mean? And a lot of artists can do their own thing. And people in general, whatever it is that you're trying to do, you can do your own thing and build your own lane. You know what I'm saying? So when did you know that you wanted to be more than just a DJ? Because, of course, you're throwing parties. You got mixtapes. You going all around the country, going to all of these different events,
Yep. building
relationships.
Yep.
But now you're an actual businessman as far as having your own alcohol brands, having sponsorships with alcohol, throwing these events.
Like, to be honest, from the beginning, I knew I wanted to do other shit than music. And to me, why DJing was so perfect was because it was the vehicle that allowed me and other people like me just to do other shit. Like, you can be a DJ and do a bunch of other shit. It depends on what you want to do.
Yeah.
Like, being a rapper, because perception is so important, it's hard to be a rapper and then start a marketing company.
Facts.
People might not take you as serious. Me as a DJ, and people know that I'm got my hands on other shit and I'm doing other shit and I'm capable of other shit, I can start a marketing company. And people will take me, not only take me seriously, but they look at that, my career as a DJ, as an asset to my marketing company, because now I got all these years of experience in the music business and all these relationships with different people at different parts of the company. It actually makes my marketing company more valuable. So I always knew it was something else. But the love for music has always been there. But as soon as I figured out that I could actually make a living being a DJ, is when I realized I wanted to do other shit on top of that. You know? And there's been a ton of side hustles I had that I tried to branch out and do that didn't work. Like, I tried to blog back in the day. And other different little side shit that didn't work. But the things that did work, like the alcohol shit and the marketing shit and all that, made it all worth it. You feel me?
Yeah.
And it's almost come to a point in my life where the DJing is second nature. Like, I still love it. And it's almost to the point where I feel like sometime in the near future, it's gonna have to be somebody else that steps up and does what I do from the DJ side, because I'm not that I don't want to do it anymore, but I'm not gonna be able to do it anymore because I got so much other shit going on.
Yeah.
And I'm interested in other shit. Like, I love music. I love being I could literally be a DJ for the fucking rest of my life until I physically couldn't do it anymore.
Because you're that stamped and you've been doing it that long.
And I love it. Like,
name.
bruh, people like talk about how when they get older they hate going to the clubs, because the club is like my second home. I've been going to clubs every fucking weekend since I was 16. I don't pay to get in the club. I don't wait to get in line. I don't pay for drinks. Like, it's like my second home. So what is there to be mad? What is there to not like about it?
Yeah.
And I get paid to do it. And I'm only working 3-4 hours when I'm there. And it's working is playing records and talking shit on the mic.
Yeah.
It's like taking candy from a baby. So why wouldn't I want to do that for the rest of my life? Like I said, the only reason I wouldn't do that for the rest of my life is because I got too much other shit going on that I want to do.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that's how it's going to happen, so don't get happy.
All you other DJs,
Nah.
man, thinking you about to take his spot.
And it's not even about the other DJs. It's just like, I remember when I first started getting a little name and shit, when I was like 19, 20, I remember this dude asked me, how much longer you think you really going to DJ? I was like, bro, I just got started, and people have literally been asking me that my entire life, because they don't understand this shit.
They don't understand passion, bro.
They don't understand passion, and they don't understand me. Like, they don't understand what it means to me to be a DJ. Like, it's literally like, it's a gift I don't want to sound dramatic. It's a gift from God. If it wasn't for DJing, like, who knows what the fuck I would be doing. DJing has allowed me to do all this other shit. DJing allows me to be here with you to have these conversations on a platform to where other people actually might give a fuck enough to listen to what I'm talking about. That's a huge gift.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people want that and don't have it and don't know how to get it, or and may never have it. So I don't take that I don't take it for granted. I really don't.
Yeah.
Like I said, the only way I'm gonna stop DJing or even slow down DJing if it comes to a point where I literally don't have time to do it. And I honestly hope that time never comes. Matter of fact, that time will never come. I'm gonna say it now. I'm never gonna just stop DJing.
Right.
I might slow down. I might not do as many gigs or radio or whatever, but like, I'm gonna always fucking DJ. There's no way around it.
Now, when you're 60-something years old, because you're still going to be
I'm telling you, I'm gonna be the oldest
gonna be in
fucking
the clubs?
DJ on the planet, fam.
You gonna be in the clubs? Like,
Yes.
Or you gonna be in clubs for your age group, or you gonna be
Watch.
in the
Watch
18
what I
to
do.
35 demo? You
Nah, it's
be
gonna
in
be
that
like
demo?
it's gonna be like 25 to 35.
25 to 35 demo. Okay, okay.
But watch what I do.
Yeah.
Watch
You're
what-
gonna innovate. You're gonna do something different. Bring something different to the game.
It's just too much fun, fam. Like, I'd be like asking, like, who's a good? I'd be like asking fucking Charlie Wilson, why is he still on stage singing and doing concerts?
Because he love it.
Yeah.
He don't have to.
He definitely don't got to do that shit.
Yeah.
Or the Rolling Stones or any of these other motherfuckers who've been around for 40 plus years and they still touring.
Yeah.
They doing it because they love that shit. And it's like, why wouldn't I do it? It's easy. Yeah. At this point, it's easy. Like, why the fuck wouldn't I do it?
It's not worth to you.
I almost feel bad like turning down gigs. It's like, yo, why am I going to turn this down? When this is all I ever wanted.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, it's one of those situations. I'm just happy to be here, for real.
It means you care, though.
I do. I give a fuck.
Feeling bad that you turning down gigs.
Yeah, absolutely.
That 16-year-old kid is still in you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
And your pops, too, he like, look, man.
I still know Pops need his 10%, so I got to keep working.
Pops need his 10%. He about to up the price now.
Yeah, he see this shit. He definitely going to go up.
He going to up the price. Now, Happy Juice.
Uh-huh.
Dog, I remember you talking about Happy Juice.
Hold up.
It was in the stores.
This would be a good time. Part 2. Nah, because that's where the game changes for me.
Okay.
In a big way. That's
part 2.
Yeah, definitely we could talk about that more in part 2. Because that's like chapter 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chapter 2.
It's I got a lot to say though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because there's a lot that went on from the time like Happy Juice as an idea was created until like recently, a year and a half ago, where we was able to make some good things happen financially with that whole lane. Yeah, and I want to talk about it.
I just got one question. I just got one question.
Okay.
How is the bag? You ain't gotta tell me, cause like this part 2.
Yeah.
It's gonna give them something to
we will
aspire to listen to. How is the bag? Did your life change? Because dog, I don't think people understand, man.
Uh-huh.
This man was in retail stores selling a product that he created.
Yeah, the biggest retailers in America, Walmart, Kroger's, all the big dogs that are pretty much impossible to get into. And I can't even take credit for that. That was my partners for the most part that behind the scenes. I got an international business attorney who was my partner. And then I got a beast of a serial entrepreneur and hustler, my man DeAnthony. And, they had a lot to do with those big scores like Walmart and all that. But I really do want to talk about all that because I think it's lessons. It was huge lessons in that for me. But I think it's some shit that we could talk about that other people can learn from. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's those type of opportunities that come along like once in a lifetime. And if you're scared, you'll never get the opportunity. It's an opportunity that it's a huge risk, and you got to be willing to like sacrifice a lot to even attempt to try it. And if you're scared to do it, you'll never reap not only the bag benefits, but just the learning and the growth benefits, which are definitely just as important or more important than the bag. If you're a striver and you want to do this shit forever. So yeah, we definitely gonna talk part 2. I promise.
Part 2 on the way, baby.
And we doing part 2 outside.
Yeah, we doing it outside. It's gonna be a dope scenery.
In the daytime.
It's gonna be a dope scenery, a dope vibe. It's gonna be something different from Muddy Waterz. If I never did one outside. I always wanted to do one outside.
It'll be dope. It's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, man. Lord, I thank you.
Thank you, bro.
Part 1, man.
Absolutely.
Part 1.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was gonna be a part 2 until I got here. He was like, "We're gonna do a part 2." I said, "Hey, man, whatever you want to do."
It just makes sense.
Whatever you want to do, baby.
Because it does. We already been with like 2 hours.
Yeah, man. I told you it'd take a little minute. Let's do
part 2.
Time flies when you're having fun, though.
For real,
right?
man. And talking about real shit.
Talking about real shit, man. But I enjoyed having you on, man. And part 2, y'all tune in for part 2. Tell the people where they can find you at social media and all of that.
It's DJ B Lord on the gram, Facebook and Twitter, and I got some other shit to talk about part 2 too. It's the next big thing for me, business wise, career wise.
Okay.
And we'll probably be ready to give them the website and all that shit by the time we talk next time.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, man.
Because he'll probably end up surprising me with it. He probably won't even tell me about it until we do the interview.
Probably.
I'll find out on camera just like y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Muddy Waterz.
Salute.
We out.
Yeah, man.